college football. I love me some college football. Now, week 0 was the appetizer, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But we were looking forward, at least I was looking forward to week 1, the main course, the buffet, the salad bar line, the main course line, the dessert bar. And all the spreads you want, that's week 1, not the teas, that's week 0. But anyway, lots of exciting games. Oh my God. I mean, Oklahoma almost blowing the lead to damn
Tulane.
I know. And that was supposed to be in New Orleans, but thanks to Hurricane, wherever the hell, it was moved to Norman. And one thing I was give a quick shout out to Oklahoma, to the university. They put the logos of the Blue Wave on the same side, opposite side of where they had the OU logos, right?
Oh, wow.
So they put them there as a shout out to them because, again, it's supposed to be a Tulane home game, but due to the hurricane, it got moved to Norman. So anyway, there's a quick shout. It's a quick shout out to them for honoring Tulane and supporting Tulane the way they did. Albeit Tulane made a game of it, like I said earlier, and they got the onside kick and had a chance to win, but they gave it up on downs, and that was that. Also, Ohio State messed around with Minnesota before they got this shit together. And then, God, there's another game. I mean, but big upsets too. Montana beating Washington.
Yeah, we had several upsets
Montana
in
State,
the FBS matchups.
Yeah,
with, like you said, with Montana.
Right.
Who else? Vanderbilt taking a big loss to East Tennessee.
Yeah.
God, there were a couple of more too. Holy Cross over UConn, which led to the eventual resignation of Randy Edsall.
Effective immediately, yes.
Yeah, because even before the game, he was like, I think this might be the last one. And then he loses to Holy Cross. He's like,
I'm out.
I'm out. Let me go ahead and get these boxes and get this office together. But yeah, there were several FCS over FBS upsets. Penn State, Wisconsin.
That was a defensive throwback, dude. That in North Carolina and Virginia Tech. Now, I will say this right quick before I talk about you, brother. Virginia Tech, I mean, that's I mean, they really took it back. The defense showed up like we used to be my ball, right, growing up. Now, they shut down even though Carolina, let's be real, they lost the 2 top running backs to the draft. I think some of the perimeter players on the wide receiver side, I think some of those.
Yeah, they lost to Monty Brown, who's actually here in DC.
Yeah,
with
there
the
you go.
Football team. Yes,
so
sir.
That's a lot of production. They lost them last year, and they came in ranked 10th. Now, I would say this. I mean, you got to wonder, is North Carolina that overrated, or is Virginia Tech better than we thought? I think it's a little bit of both.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's a little bit of both, too.
Yeah, because Matt Brown, to that point, he said, we're overrated tonight. He was just blunt. He said, we'll get better. And I think they'll be all right. But I think that, again, to be fair, they lost a lot of their firepower on offense. The good news is that defense played pretty well. That's good news. Can't say the same thing about Miami. Even, I knew, okay, it's Alabama. I get it. I knew that Alabama was going to win by 2 scores. At least 2 scores.
At least 2, right? Yeah.
And Miami, I think Miami still is a 9-win team. But the way they beat Miami, they beat them like they stole something from them. They got a new quarterback of Bryce Young. I mean, Bryce Young took some snaps last year. This is first year starting, right? I mean, he's one of the young men who had $1 million plus NIL name, image, and likeness contract. He's living up to it. The young brother's living up to it. He balled out, OWT out, right? But poor Derek King, I think he's still gimpy on that knee. They were just abusing the old boy. But I mean, it just makes you wonder. As much as we love college football, it's like, who's beating Alabama?
Right now, I really don't know, right? I almost want to say Georgia. I almost want to say Georgia.
They look good.
Based upon
that
what
defense
they did,
is nasty.
What they did to
shit.
Clemson, yes, I was not expecting that at all, right? But
wow.
Will Georgia? So for those who don't know what I mean by that, will Georgia end up doing what they've been doing for the past, many times?
High expectations and just fuck it up at the end. Yeah, I see.
Exactly, right? So, so, it's a high possibility that we may get that. Mm-hmm. But if we don't, if we can somehow get Georgia and Alabama to play this Saturday, I would love it. I would love it. TV.
Everything else will shut down. Game day will be there. They'll provide the snacks. They'll provide the pizza.
Only because I want this current Georgia team against this current Alabama team.
Correct.
And to see how they would look.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
I don't want either team to be, I mean, it's going to happen anyway. But when they finally face off this season, both teams are going to be soiled through the season, dealing with whatever they have to deal with.
Injuries and shit like that, distractions.
Yeah, and then of course the expectations of Georgia being who they've shown us they've been in recent years. Excuse me.
Sure.
But oh my God, if we could just somehow get that game Saturday, that would be wonderful. But that's the only team I can think of based upon what I've seen so far. But as I always tell people, hey, it's week 1.
Yep.
Slow down. Don't get your expectations too high. Don't.
It's a long season. It's a marathon. It's a long
season.
It's a damn marathon. It's 12 games. And I know people like to say that in the NFL seasons are sprints because it's 12 and 16 game, 17 game season now, respectively. But still, I mean, teams in the case of the NFL, especially this is really college football. A lot of times teams finish far different than how they started.
Yeah.
We see it every single year. So basically, if you go back to that Georgia game right quick, the deciding points were the pick 6. The difference was the pick 6.
The only score in the game. Neither offense
only touchdown
in this game. Yeah.
I mean, so which brings us to Clemson. All right. Being ACC guys. Again, I'm trying not to panic because that's still Dabo Swinney.
Yeah.
That's still Clemson.
Yeah.
They still got those athletes. Now, to be fair, they lost a lot of offensive linemen. They lost Travis Etienne. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is about to start this weekend against the Houston Texans with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So he ain't walking through that door again. They still so it's gonna that offense gonna be a work in progress. I think that DJ Ucla guy, that young man, he's a true sophomore. I think he's gonna be a play. He played well last year in games he was asked to start in place of Trevor Lawrence because of his COVID situation. But I think they'll be fine. But I would say this. It's a good thing that, I mean, the only good thing about that loss to Georgia was that defense for Clemson, man.
Yeah.
It's legit. They're still legit, man. I mean, because Georgia was supposed to be having all this offensive talent. It was a 10-3 ball game. So it makes you wonder. Georgia's defense and Clemson's defense for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great to watch, you know?
It will be wonderful to see that as a playoff preview, right?
I think it was a playoff preview. I think it was a playoff preview.
You know, to have those two teams going head up again later on in the season. My question is this, which was the concern going into this game, is whether or not, because what is Clemson currently ranked right now?
6th.
6th? Yeah, it's currently whether or not Clemson can get back into that number 4 slot, right?
Right.
And one of the concerns was Clemson going into the season, their only other obstacle or tough game that they would have on their slate would be Carolina, right? And that game probably was it going to be until the ACC championship game? More like that?
Yeah. Let me. Because I'm pulling up right now. As well, I'm jabbering off to you. Yeah, because let me scroll down here. They have no more tests on their schedule. And I would say this, I'll take that back. Because the way NC State looked, albeit against South Florida, but a lot of the staff, the coaching staff of South Florida came from Clemson. So they're trying to build something there. But I'll tell you what, brother, If NC State wins, if we win at Mississippi State this week, which almost took it on the chin themselves against Louisiana Tech, I think. If we win in Starkville, look the hell out. Look the hell out. And remember, we said a while back with our ACC buddies from All Sports Discussion, look, watch out for NC State and Boston College. They got their offensive firepower back. NC State has almost everyone, offense and defense, back. So, and they played Clemson early in the season. So look out for that as well. But I think Clemson's going to be fine. The only thing is, again, it's all about the schedule.
Yeah.
It's who you play. So basically, the only out of conference, they got 3 more out of conference games. South Carolina State this coming weekend.
Dub. Sorry, Coach Bud.
Yep.
Speaking of, before we get to that real quick,
yeah.
If none of you guys have ever heard Coach Buddy Pugh of South Carolina State do an interview, find one, please. They're always entertaining. The quote from this past week's media weekly press conference from Coach Pugh was, you catch a tiger by the tail, but once you do, you got to play with him. I was like,
that's so old school.
Yeah, and dogs are known for chasing cars, but this time we're gonna be chasing the tiger, and if we catch him, I was like, yeah, thank you, Coach Pugh, for those gems there. But yeah, so the rest of Clemson's schedule at the South Carolina State is
UConn at home and then at South Carolina. South Carolina's rebuilding. That's a rivalry game. So basically, even if Clemson runs the table, which is damn near possible, right? We're not giving up.
Who are the ACC games? Because that's the real question I have.
Okay, they play. Hold on for a second, brother. They play after South Carolina State. They host Georgia Tech. That's a dub. They go to NC State. They host Boston College. They go to Syracuse. They go to Pitt. They host Florida State. They're at Louisville. They host UConn. They host Wake Forest. They're at South Carolina. So they can run the table. They could. Outside of going to Raleigh to face NC State, that's going to be a tough one. And I think Pitt's going to be pretty good. That's going to be in Pittsburgh. But really, they probably will run the table. They probably go. I can see 11-1 in the future easily.
Yeah, almost definitely. Really. Now the Florida State game will be interesting. Now
they played well. They played well against Notre Dame.
Most definitely played well. Notre Dame almost Notre Dame this weekend as well, right? But the 2 teams who I was looking for that's not on their schedule, North Carolina, like I said before, they're saying there's a chance they may face them in the ACC title game, or it might be the team who just beat them this past weekend that might be facing them in that game as well, Virginia Tech, who is currently ranked. So so those will be their only tests so far throughout the season. And I don't know if a win over because that's that's the coastal winner, right?
Correct.
So a win over the coastal winner, and with the rest of their schedule looking the way that it currently does, they're going to need help to get back in that top 4, in my opinion, right now.
Because it's the schedule.
Because of the scheduling. And I don't know if they're going to just have to blow out a lot of the teams that they're supposed to blow out.
Yeah, because again, we mentioned it, man, and both teams are like this. Georgia and Clemson is sitting pretty at the last week. If you look at their schedule, right? Because Georgia, in the case I know it's the SEC in Georgia, but I mean, shit. Outside of the rivalry game with Auburn they have every year from the West, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I'm pulled up right now. But I mean, Florida's not that good. They didn't look all that good.
No.
And Tennessee is Tennessee. They're almost overrated every year. Kentucky, they improved, but I mean, come on. But so let's see. Their crossover game with the West Division is Missouri. So you basically have this is the next Georgia's next 3 games. University of Alabama, Birmingham, UAB at home. They host South Carolina. They're at Vanderbilt. They host Arkansas. They're at Auburn. They host Kentucky. They play Florida every year in Jacksonville. They host Missouri. They're at Tennessee. They host Charleston Southern, and they're at Georgia Tech. They can run. They could be undefeated, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Auburn's all that. They're in the poll this week because of name only. And I think that and I don't think Florida's all that great this year. So they can easily run the table, bro.
Yeah, they could, right? But the two teams that I'm looking at, of course, are the two teams that are ahead of Clemson at number 4 and number 5 right now, which are Oklahoma, who struggled against Tulane, who we just talked about, and Texas A&M, who came away with a victory this weekend themselves. Right. So they're going to most definitely be looking for one of those two to take a loss. And then depending upon what happens between Alabama and Ohio State for the rest of the year, it's going to be real intriguing to see, because they're going to need one of those, at least 4 of those 5 to fall for them to get back in that top 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Texas A&M is they're good. I think they're going to lose to Alabama again. They're going to have at least one loss. And they may pick up another loss along the way. So basically, if you're Clemson, you're looking at, again, this is early as hell. We know that. You're really looking, because I think Texas is better than Oklahoma this year. That just based by how both teams took week 1. I think you got to look at Georgia. Because Georgia beat y'all in the head-to-head. You had to have that head-to-head. And if not, then it's going to be tough sledding. You're going to have to go on a ring and hope and a prayer. I mentioned earlier Montana State beat Washington. It was Montana. You mentioned Montana beat Washington.
The Grizz,
That's totally my bad. I have a buddy of mine who I once worked with at Deloitte who went to Montana to play football there. So he's pretty happy about that. He'll probably piss him off. I say Montana State instead of Montana. But anyway, one last thing right quick, man. Speaking of SEC, how about UCLA thumping LSU? Is UCLA back all of a sudden? They're 2-0. That was a damn good win at home. It
was a good win at home, right? Wow. I don't know, right? Because, of course, what's the one thing that always slips up the Pac-12? The Pac-12. Yeah. They always beat each other up.
They cannibalize each other like crazy. Yeah.
So the question is going to be, who going to do it this year, right?
Right.
Will someone actually escape? The zombies that are the Pac-12 team that are looking to eat up one another? Or will somebody be able to get through clean and potentially find a way into a playoff spot? I don't know. Depends upon who the rest of the OOCs are on whether or not we'll have a Pac-12 team into the playoffs as of right now. I don't necessarily see it as of right now.
Right.
But we might get it under. God, I don't even want to say that. I don't, because I know I'm going to say it today, and I'm going to look foolish by like 5 weeks from now by saying it's going to be an undefeated Pac-12 team. I'm going to go ahead and not say that right now. But UCLA is looking good early. Can they sustain this success throughout the rest of the year?
Right. Because what the Pac-12 needs are 2 things. I know they got Oregon, and Oregon's about to lose to Ohio State this weekend. Sorry, Ducks fans, but I'm just being real with you. Is that the horseshoe? You're not winning the horseshoe. And it's a noon game too. You ain't winning that. The Pac-12 needs USC and UCLA to be good. They need those are your 2 brands. When we talked about the last few weeks of college football, it's all about brands. How are your brands looking? If your brands are winning, your brands are studs, you can command top dollar if you are looking for a contract, television contract when we do a television contract, because you got that leverage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I know Oregon's going to lose this weekend. So the road through the Pac-12 may go through LA. If they perform, if SC doesn't do, we talked about this with Georgia and Clemson and the other teams, if they don't do SC things, they're notorious for doing SC things during the season. We talked about this every single year. USC has the talent. They should be running the Pac-12 year after year after year. But they have no damn business losing division to Utah. No disrespect to Utah. They're a solid program. They ain't got the talent in the recruiting pool that USC has. They shouldn't be losing that division to the out of the Arizona teams. They shouldn't be losing the division like they did one year to Colorado. They should not be doing it. They're freaking SC. They're the Trojans. Right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't be doing that. And it's good to see USC looking better. I mean, UCLA looking better.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that game would matter this year for the first time in several thousand years.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
If both teams live up to their potential, but we see this every year with SC. So it remains to be seen. Again, it's early. I'm not going to be one of those a-holes that says let's push the panic button. It's a process. Like you said, like you told me 2 years ago about the JCs and NFL situation, let the pizza bake.
Wow, I forgot about that one. That one was a gem right there.
That was I remember that gem is in my psyche. I remember that shit. I quote you on it. Let the pizza bake. It's a long season. Just let it ride out. And it won't matter anyway until early November or the last week of October when the college football playoff rankings come out for the first time.
Most definitely, yeah.
So who gives a shit about the rankings up until that point? So let's just enjoy this season. Let's just enjoy college football for what it is. It's a marathon slash sprint. It's a marathon slash sprint, but it's more of a marathon. Things are going to change. It's going to a lot of ebbs and flows throughout the season, people. So again, we love college football. You love college football. We love you for loving college football. Just to quote you, let the pizza bake. That's all he asks. Oh,
my God. Yeah,
one more thing before we can transition to the HBCU sports segment. And I teased